Hello there. Welcome back to Elements in Focus. My name is Grant Soliven. I'm the Manager of Advisor Operations, and with me, Director of Financial Planning and his handsome beautifulness, Rheaume. Aaron, so glad to have you here, my friend.
Thanks for always embarrassing me.
I don't mean to
truly appreciate it.
We're having a good time here, folks. As you can tell, we love doing this together. Nothing like a little razzing when you're getting into little elements in focus. So, getting down right to it, elements in focus. What we talk about here are the 5 critical elements, and why we find them important is because in each one of these areas, we have seen certain things derail financial plans and families' financial futures. And we all believe, thanks to James Clear, who put it so eloquently, right, success is not dependent on one thing, but failure can be. And so what Aaron and I are trying to do is give you those golden nuggets so we don't see failure enter your situation. One of those big critical failures can come in the form of taxes or tax planning. The tax code is constantly changing, so don't get caught with this one. Aaron, Secure Act 2.0, when did it pass? What's going on there? And what's happening specifically with RMDs for families and those that are inheriting money?
Yeah, Grant. So great question as always. And if you attended our Thirdly or watched the Thirdly broadcast online, you have known that I talked about the never-ending story. Wonderful movie that Grant loves back in 1984.
Excellent movie.
But regardless, I set it up as the relationship with the IRS that we have is a never-ending story. And so the Secure Act 2.0 was passed December 29th of 2022, and it did a couple things. One, and most specifically, it pushed the required minimum distribution age to 73. And it will be increased to 75 by 2033. So we've got a couple changes there to pay attention to. Some other major changes are regarding Roth IRAs. If you have a 401k or an employer plan and you're past the RMD age, it used to be you'd have to take a required minimum distribution out of that account. Starting in 2024, that will no longer be the case.
For Roth 401ks.
For
correct?
Roth 401ks. So great to add that in there. Roth 401ks, you will no longer have to take a required minimum distribution. Some other things, if you are self-employed, we can add a Roth option to SEP and Simple plans, and there has been some changes to what the employer match can be contributed to. This will take some time to get adopted, so if you have an employer plan who is providing you a match, there is now a Roth option to have that go into. In the past, so for years and years and years, we did not have the ability to have the employer match go to a Roth. It always went tax deferred. So starting this year, and when your employer adopts that, your match can now go to a Roth if you elect that. A couple other changes were regarding 529 plans, specifically the ability to move $35,000 out of any leftover money inside of a 529 plan to a Roth IRA. You've had to have the account for at least 15 years. There's some other limitations, so if you have questions on that, please reach out to us. And lastly, here in the state of Indiana, talked about this in a video a couple weeks ago, for the credit that you get that has been increased from $1,000 to $1,500 if you make a $7,500 contribution and you have any state tax owed. So if you have $100 of state tax owed, you're only going to get $100 towards that credit. So if you owe more than $1,500, that's when you can get that full credit for the 529 state of Indiana plan contribution. Anything else you want to cover on the Secure Act?
Great coverage, by the way, Aaron. A lot of stuff in there to unpack. The other big one, too, was that if you inherited money from a non-spouse, so you're the beneficiary of your parents or grandparents' IRAs or 401ks, over the last couple of years, we didn't have clarity on if you were required to take an RMD from those assets, especially if your grandparents or parents had triggered their required beginning date, meaning they had already started to take RMDs because of their age. All we knew is that we had to at least take the money out in 10 years. Well, thanks to Secure Act 2.0, we now have that clarity, and that is now you are required to take RMDs from those assets if your grandparents, parents, or whoever's gifting you the money had already begun their RMDs. So do not get caught not doing that. Because you will have a 25% penalty, and if you're on good behavior, it'll only be 10. but still you don't want to subject that money to penalty.
Correct.
And so if you have questions regarding anything Aaron stated, or you've got some of this complication with inherited assets, please give us a call, 800-928-4001. Brittany will gladly get you set up with one of our advisory team members. Shoot us a question. Talk to feg@yourlifeafterwork.com. And again, we have so much content that our team has created over the last couple years. Some of it a little outdated, but still relevant. Some stuff very relevant to today. We try to do our best to keep things going. So please check out that content under our resource page at yourlifeafterwork.com. Again, thank you for joining us for Elements in Focus. We look forward to seeing you at the next one.